Hello, my name is Rachael Perrier, and today I am presenting Empowerment from the Canvas, a look at urban art and traditional forms of feminine protest. Both feminism and urban art have had their own evolutionary changes since their respective beginnings, but rarely are analyzed side by side due to society's perception of these global realities. From this, I pose the question, how does female urban art compare to traditional forms of protest when conveying a feminist message? To answer this question, I will begin with a brief history of the waves of feminism and where feminism stands today in 2018, moving into the history of urban art, when it began, who participated, and what the art is used for, followed by the background of three female urban artists, their individual goals as artists, and a look at their respective works, followed by a formal analysis of three urban pieces to establish common characteristics within feminist-made urban art, concluding with the significance and implications of my observations. The first wave of feminism commenced in 1848 with the Seneca Falls Convention. Charlotte states that the primary goal of the early feminist movement originated as the advocacy on a wide range of rights for women. As time progressed, the first wave feminists focused on the aspiration of winning women's suffrage. The conclusion of the first wave of feminism occurred after the ratification of the 19th Amendment in 1920, which assured women's equal access to voting. Although feminism protests remained on the back burner for 40 years, the second wave of feminism caught heavy spotlight in the 1960s. The event that started the second wave of feminism is disputed between two perspectives of scholars. One side believes that the starting event of the second wave was the publication of Betty Friedan's The Feminine Mystique. The opposing side claims that the grassroots activism of the Southerners that occurred in the 60s and 70s started the second wave. Although two sides debate the starting event, the overall ambition of the second wave is agreed upon. A collective focus on women's experience in all aspects of life, including family, sexuality, and work. This concentration is also focused not on one specific group, but on all women from all intersections. After 2 decades of the second wave of feminism, a resurge of feminists arose as feminists coming of age in 1980 and 1990s. According to Jennifer Gilley of the Reference and User Services Quarterly, this generation of feminists grew up in a society that continuously benefited and suffered from the results of the two first waves of feminism. Due to the extreme push to allow for women's experience, the third wave consequently resurged to correct and improve the aftermath of the previous wave. The third wave of feminism focuses on new modern controversies not spoken about before, such as equality for transsexual and transgender women and the backlash caused by the second wave of feminism. Due to the zealous results of the second wave, the third wave has to deal with the phenomenon of I am not a feminist but syndrome, in which both women and men support and value feminist political views and beliefs but refuse to identify as a feminist. The fourth wave of feminism started just as the third wave ended in 2012. The fourth wave of feminism as currently is what society resides in. With a global development of internet and social media, participation in feminist movements can occur from virtually anywhere with Wi-Fi or cell phone service. According to Prudence Chamberlain, her published book states that the focus of the fourth wave calls out for combat against sexual harassment as well as violence against women. Monroe of the Political Insight Journal concurs with the claim made by Chamberlain, but also adds more concentrations in micropolitics and changing sexism and misogyny. Both arguments of the fourth wave of feminism goals consistently make newsroom headlines as well as everyday conversation impacting a majority of the society. In the fourth wave of feminism, we commonly see extreme forms of protest that are typically audibly very loud. Recently, in April of 2018, the Me Too movement received a major headline when a bare-breasted protester faced Bill Cosby as he walked into the Pennsylvania courthouse, shouting in Cosby's face, "Women lives matter." This madam left the scene in handcuffs. Another popular example is Amy Schumer and Emily Ratajkowski protesting Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh on Capitol Hill carrying a big sign stating, "Respect female existence or expect our resistance." The two celebrities were also arrested. Aside from traditional forms of protest we see here, although audibly quieter, urban art is especially useful for expressing values of feminism in 2018. Urban art came into prominence in the 1960s and grew into an urban epidemic by the middle of the 1970s. As Richard Lockman of the Journal of Society observed urban artists present in New York City and evaluated the urban artwork and graffiti created, he noted that majority of gangs use urban art and graffiti as territorial claims. Apart from gangs, Lockman also noticed that a significant population of urban artists were society's outcasts, as well as numerous minorities in the city. Urban art can be categorized into two sections. The most basic form of urban art is tagging. Tagging consists of a basic writing of the artist's name, and the second form is muralism. The second form of urban art is muralism. Muralism is any urban art that encompasses more than the writer's basic tag. Through producing urban art in public spaces, gangs, outcasts, and minorities who want their voice to be heard use and continue using today urban art as a platform to voice their opinions and claim their space. From this, the connection from all groups of individuals who live in suppressed society can be linked to the use of urban art as a platform to liberate themselves from oppression. The female gender is a great example of a group categorically oppressed, and they use this suppression in urban art to use this platform to publicate their opinions, creating modern feminist protests through urban art. The following female artists all come from marginalized backgrounds because of their female gender. These artists have used their urban art to promote their individual feminist messages. Tatiana Fazlalizadeh resides in Brooklyn, New York, where she made the switch from traditional gallery settings to public street art. This switch allowed Fazlalizadeh to circumvent the Public Art Commission and approval process and put her art in open spaces, which forces society to create a direct link with her message. Tatiana Fazlalizadeh combats the worldwide reality of street sexual harassment, and the battle began in 2012 when she launched the Stop Telling Women to Smile series. From this series, this research analyzes the piece entitled My Body Extends Far Beyond My Worth. The next artist, Lady Pink, also working out of New York, uses street art and muralism to bring attention to the worldwide effort of empowering women. Lady Pink's mural that I will analyze is entitled Reclining Woman, and this mural is located in Miami, Florida. The last artist is from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Penmela Castro leads the charge in raising awareness to women's rights. Majority of Castro's art entails obscene figures or implications, but all symbols or objects in the art assist in getting the message, significance, and importance across to the public. Her use of lewd figures is clear in her artwork, My Body, My Rules. To analyze these artworks, common characteristics are established. Symbolism of religion is seen in Reclining Women in My Body, My Rules. The concept of anger is seen in My Body, My Rules, and My Worth Extends Far Beyond My Body, and the concept of agency is represented in all three works. Religion in Lady Pink's Reclining Women is displayed through the eagle and the crown represented on the far right of the mural. From the Old Testament of the Bible, the eagle represents optimism, strength, redemption, and recovery. By using the eagle in her artwork, Lady Pink unknowingly forces society to relate her artwork, which promotes the empowerment of women with the ideas associated with eagles, such as hope, strength, and salvation. By creating this link between the ideas associated with eagles and her message promoted in her urban art, Lady Pink links the empowerment of women to a positive connotation of hope, strength, and redemption. The addition of the crown adds a greater positive spin, not only on the eagle, but the art itself. Throughout the Bible, one principal idea affiliated with the crown is the divine good. By adding the crown to the urban art on the head of the eagle now serves as a double purpose. Lady Pink affiliates divine good with all the ideas associated with the eagle, but also the divine good of empowering women. Penmela Castro empowers women through her artwork, My Body, My Rules, by incorporating aspects of religion. Instead of illustrating two eyes, Castro draws one eye and one apple in place of the second eye. Castro embraces a depiction of a representation of a woman's vulva on the apple eye. The symbol of the apple also has an affiliation with the religious ideas and beliefs of the Bible's Old Testament. The story of Adam and Eve has a primary link to the symbol of an apple that represents the mystical and the forbidden within the story of Adam and Eve. From the story Eve, the apple stands for the mystical, the forbidden, femininity, sin, and fertility. Aside from the apple representing femininity, the vulva depicted on the apple also signifies femininity. Penmela Castro unconsciously makes the connection from the endeavor of raising awareness on women's rights, which she is trying to convey through her artwork, and the abstract
Hello, YouTube.
ideas.
For those of you who don't know us, my name is Haley.
And the abstract ideas affiliated with the apple. The notions of the mystical, the forbidden, and the sin associated with the symbol of an apple have the ability of individualized interpretation, as these thoughts are not generally affiliated with women's rights. For instance, the idea of the mystical could internalize in viewers' mind as a deeper observation of feminism and women's rights. Through simple objects within the art, symbolism associated with religious ideas allows society to associate the religious concepts of Lady Pink's desire to arouse societal change to empower women and Penmela Castro's desire to induce awareness of women's rights. The piece created by Tatiana Fazalizadeh from her Stop Telling Women to Smile campaign prominently displays anger through the style of lines used as well as the expression depicted in art. The primary way Fazalizadeh embodies anger throughout her artwork is by consistently illustrating the woman in an emotionless state. This emotionless state creates the optical illusion of a stare down, as if the woman is emitting an atmosphere of anger and frustration. The blunt lines created by Fazalizadeh's heavy hand assist in the display of anger by creating a blunt image. Even with the minimal blending to shadow the portrait, the additional use of extra blunt lines overpowers the piece with anger. Penmela's piece, My Body, My Rules, also applies pressure to the public by expressing intense emotions of anger through the use of expression and color. As seen as Tatiana's work, Castro similarly uses facial expression to convey anger. Penmela Castro also uses the optical illusion of a stare down that conveys an intense feeling of anger and annoyance. Castro's powerful use of the color red screams anger, as red is generally affiliated with the emotion of anger and frustration. Through thoughtful expression in the use of color and line, anger and frustration pour out of Fazalizadeh and Castro's work and assist in the awakening of society due to the urgency of women's rights and street harassment. Agency is displayed in all three of the artworks, and interestingly enough, is conveyed in three different ways. Tatiana Fazalizadeh expresses this concept by her choice of color palette. By using monochromatic grayscale, she is able to bring the importance of street harassment without overpowering the viewers with an array of bright, colorful colors. Fazalizadeh's purposeful use of black and white gives the issue to the viewers plain and simple to allow for internalization and the desired change. Penmela Castro's My Body, My Rules displays agency through the use of lines that guide the viewer's eyes through the artwork. These lines do not lead the viewer to any specific part of the art. In doing this, Castro engages the viewer to keep looking at the piece of art, almost as to grip the viewer's eye so that they can internalize the call for women's rights. Lady Pink's Reclining Woman expresses agencies for the viewer through the expression and lines. Even though the woman's eyes are drawn as windows, just like the common saying, the eyes are the window to the soul, the expression upon the woman's face is emotionless. As Lady Pink seeks to empower women through her urban art, the emotionless face of the woman possibly internalizes in viewers as concern, and maybe cause the viewers to want to help make the change. Through Lady Pink's positioning of the woman's body, the lines that create up the outline of the woman push the eyes through the artwork and guide them off the page. This guide allows viewers to engage all of the aspects of the art and then continue on with their day, hopefully internalizing a for change, just like Lady Pink does. All of the analyzed concepts, religion, anger, agency, and represent